And one of the ways, this is an easy way to describe it, is with food cravings, okay? So if you have a food craving, you can't know to crave something unless the thought of it pops into your head. Meaning you can't think to go get the chocolate cake in the fridge. You won't go get it if you can't first think that it's there.
Yes.
So what you do is you take the first thought, which is the stimulus, and you connect it through repetition and visualization to something else. Now, something else is typically a representation of how they'd be better off if they didn't have the problem.
Celery sticks.
Well, no, it's not celery sticks. It's this. It's that I take the thought of the unwanted thing and connect it to how they would see themselves as a person if they didn't have this problem anymore, which, as far as food cravings is concerned, might be thinner, healthier, more relaxed, more self-confidence, that sort of thing. And what you're doing is you're attaching that thought to a thought about themselves that makes them feel really good, which causes them to forget about the craving, skip over it, to eliminate it.
Well, forgive me if I'm being too meticulous, but so how do you do that? What do you...
What you do first is, what I actually do is I'll say, well, I'll have you access the thought. For example, I had a couple of clients, and this is interesting because they were both addicted to Mountain Dew drinkers, 2 women. And one of these women had been drinking 8 20-ounce bottles of Mountain Dew for 14 years.
Nasty.
Every day. And so what I had her do was I had her first in her mind picture the can, or it was a bottle of Mountain Dew. I was like, picture the bottle. Okay? So once she pictured the bottle, what I did was I had her create a representation of how she'd see herself if she didn't have this problem anymore, which was more relaxed, not strung out on caffeine all the time, thinner, all this stuff. And what you do is you have them access first the thought of the Mountain Dew, and then you take the thought of themselves, and you have them just push it in there. It jumps in there and blocks the picture of the Mountain Dew out. You do that often enough, and what happens is that just like a song can be associated with the memory, this new thought of yourself is automatically associated with the bottle of Mountain Dew. You can't think about the Mountain Dew without the other thing popping in there and knocking it out anymore.
So you tell them to now visualize this picture instead of that picture.
It's like you literally have them do when you watch TV on picture-in-picture, when you have football in the corner and golf on the big screen. It's just like that.
But go ahead.
Well, men do. but basically, you have them close their eyes and visualize these 2 images at once, and then just switch them out. And so you switch them out, and you switch them out, and you switch them out, and eventually they're like, this other image just keeps popping in there, and I can't hold the other one anymore. And then that's how you know that it's working. So I did the same thing basically with the woman with the cats, where I took the old thought which caused her to feel anxious, and I switched that out with a new thought of her looking resourceful and confident and playing with a kitten. And that's it. So that when I asked her, would you like to meet my cats, what she did was she thought about it. And when she thought about it, what she thought was cute and fuzzy kittens, me confident and safe. And she felt good.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I'm going to send all my clients to you. I'll do their PTSD work, and you can do their behavioral changes.
Well, it's a good way to look at it, because that's really what a good hypnotherapist will do is focus on specific problems and not necessarily digging into the past.
Well, good. That would work with me. So, what about? Tell me if this is something that is possible. Of course, here I am telling you this because I'm severely ADHD. But to stay organized and to get organized and stay on time is practically a miracle for me to do that. Can you change that?
Yeah, but it's not something that I would say, it's so simple, like I have a technique for that.
Yeah, it's not, is it?
In certain contexts it can be. Like if you find yourself wasting away time and hours at the computer or surfing the internet, then internet addiction, that sort of thing is something that I have worked with.
Oh,
but
great.
when it comes to something overall,
right,
I might go to a more traditional do some deep hypnosis, give you some suggestions for focus and awareness. One of the great things that I remember when the first time I was hypnotized, and this is something that I say to all my clients usually when they're emerging from the trance, which is that you're going to find yourself forgetting to pay attention to the unnecessary information and focusing more on the things that are actually important to you. And the beauty of a statement like that is that it respects the individual and their values, meaning it's not telling them, instructing them which thoughts I think they should be not thinking about or which things they should be forgetting about. It lets you decide for yourself.
Perfect.
So for me at that time, when those words were said to me, what I began to forget about were all the self-conscious thoughts that I had of people judging me when I walked into a room full of people. And I found myself feeling so much better because I wasn't analyzing everything. And those are the
they
thoughts
would usually
that I chose
judge
to
you
forget
because of your red hair?
No, I just imagined that they were judging me. What it was is that I felt, you do the projecting thing, where all the negative criticisms that you have of yourself, you imagine that other people are thinking about, those things about you. So I would do that, and of course, I would carry myself with this negative energy because of it. And so what the people were reacting to was my negative energy, which is what I was giving off. So as soon as I stopped projecting that on them, I started feeling better about myself, and people started liking me more.
It's so funny when I work with women in their 20s that they have a similar reaction. Of course, I did too, which was, I don't ever see a healthy guy, never see a healthy marriage, never see a healthy relationship, and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, as you start working through it, you go, oh, well, I didn't even know this was all around me, because I couldn't see anything except the negative, which is partly projection, I guess, and partly magnetism.
Well, it's like you're going to find what you're looking for. One of the things I tell people is like, you ever notice when you buy a new car, you start to see that car everywhere on the road, you start to realize, oh my God, I didn't realize how many people were driving my car. But it was always there before you bought it. It's just that you never were looking for it before. And it works the same thing with like positive things or negative things. So if you're looking for all the jerks in the world and that's your focus, you're going to find all the people that cut you off in traffic and all the people that cut in front of you at the line. But if you're looking for the good things, you're going to find those things too. So I like to really suggest that people are going to look at those things and focus on those things that make them smile more, that make them happier.
And it's so true because suddenly when the focus changes, all of the things that are healthy and positive and healing are there. I mean, it's not that simple, but it's very true. So did we say I love NLP, by the way, but did we say what that stands for?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
And just describe a little bit about what that is.
Well, every hypnotherapist that I know has described NLP in a different way.
Really?
It's hard to pigeonhole. I think the easiest way that I can describe it to people, it's using your internal representations, meaning what you see, what you hear, and what you feel to restructure how you respond to things. So if a person has a process where they think about Mountain Dew and go get it, then that's a pattern that doesn't really work for them. So what you can do is you can use that internal imagery and take them in a different direction by having one thought lead to the next. So it's using someone's internal visions, their internal images or their internal sounds, how we.
So that's neuro, and then
right. Linguistic is using language to connect these things in different ways is really what it is. And programming, people get scared when you say programming because they're like, oh my God, that sounds like 1984 or something. We're programming people. But really, when you're programming someone in a way that they consent to, we would love to be programmed to not crave cheese anymore, but we're not. We're programmed through years and years of just living your life and not knowing how these programs are being implemented. You're programmed against your will.
Exactly.
So this is something that allows you, if you're willing, to reprogram yourself automatically in a way that suits you.
And if you think about it, everything you and I were talking about with the negative feelings towards ourselves or whatever it is, that is programming.
It is. And when I first started doing hypnosis, I got a little bit, to be honest, I was a little bit resentful. Because what I realized the first time I was hypnotized was, why did no one teach me this when I was 8 years old, in the first grade? Because all it is, it's a very simple way of relaxing yourself, clearing your mind, and looking at a problem objectively, looking at something in a new way. And I thought, how many problems could I have avoided or solved or dealt with in a better way in college? When you're going through that first breakup, or when you're starting to drink too much, all the things that people do, all the mistakes that you make. I was like, if I only knew this back then, I wouldn't have these problems. And so I started to look back. I was like, why is hypnosis so obscure? Why are this just, why is it all these self-help guys that seem to be making millions of dollars are the only ones that, are speaking about hypnosis? And why does insurance not cover hypnosis? And, why does everyone think it's so weird? And you know what? You can make a lot of money off people when they're not independent. And when people feel dependent on pills or drugs or, whatever it is, when people are insecure, they're going to go out and buy products. They're going to go out and spend money to try to fill those holes. And if they're feeling independent and confident and love themselves and are very happy with their state in the world, then you can't pull the money out of their pockets as easily.
And take it from me, you don't want insurance to cover it. Well, I mean, maybe you do, but then you don't want to take insurance.
Well, I'm not saying that I want to get into all that. All
I
I'm
just
saying
got
is that,
out of it.
It's like it's one of the things that holds people back.
I know.
Because it's like if their insurance can't pay for it, they're just not going to.
Right.
They're just not going to spend the money on it,
Right.
which is unfortunate.
And well, it is. But I did managed care for years and years and years, and finally, I thought if I have to give up my practice, I will, just to not do insurance. So I take like 2 panels now, and that's it. But it was a nightmare. I mean, it was a total nightmare. So be grateful.